Hey guys, Dwayne Estes here, Executive Director of the Southeastern Grasslands Initiative. I'm coming to you today from Cumberland County, Tennessee, Coal Creek Farms, where we've been working for about 3 years on a biodiversity survey. And really excited to say that the vision of the landowner here, George Lindemann, has really begun to pay off in ways that I didn't anticipate. We had talked about this when we first came up and visited this property with George. Coal Creek Farm is a 5,000 acre farm on the Cumberland Plateau of Tennessee. And in 2008, before he bought it, this land had a massive clear cut on it. A few thousand acres of timber was removed. And what came back after he bought it were just massive thickets of black locust, black cherry, white oak saplings, sourwood, red maple. And underneath that was primarily just a thicket of Allegheny blackberry. When George brought me up to this site in 2018, there were some areas like some drag lanes in between, some of the old timber roads in between these sections of clear cut, and in those were these grassy strips. And I said, whoa, George, stop. You know, we got out. This was like March of 2018. There were big clumps of big blue stem and Indian grass. And in the distance out in these other sections, these edges, we could see some young shortleaf pines. I said, George, you've got all the makings of a young savanna here. And so the more we drove around and started working with George on this project, he said, you know, I'd like to use Longhorn cows, which is one of the old Spanish breeds. He said, I think Longhorns would be good to put into those thickets and have them get in there, and they'll eat just about anything. They're not afraid of thorns and briers. And they were literally 100% canopy cover of these young, very dense, regenerating clear cuts. And for the first couple of years, you know, you would just see a few lanes going where the cows would come out of the woods. You could hear them in there, but you couldn't see them because it was so dense. And then simultaneously, they would put fire. He and his farm team would put fire through these thickets. And after a year or so, we'd come back and those lanes would be opened up. There'd be more light gaps. Well, last year, of course, was the pandemic. And our team here at SGI really was mostly not able to come to the farm last year. So all of 2020, we didn't come. And so now I'm back with my team, and several of them are back in there helping to document. And wow, I am absolutely astonished at what I've seen. In just a couple years' times, maybe 3 years' times, the Longhorns are all around us. They've kind of moved on a little bit, but they have totally opened up this thicket. You can see how open the canopy is behind me. And with all that light that comes from having the Longhorns beat through this, plus using the fire, and you can see some of the trees behind me haven't leafed out. Those are dead. They've been killed by fire. But what hasn't died certainly is beginning to resprout. You can see tulip poplar sprouting up here. There's some red maple over to the right there that's sprouting. Yeah, there's some sumacs and stuff in here. But what's incredible is all this light is allowing the seed bank to respond. And respond it has in a vigorous way. Just behind me, all this grass you see right here, this is called black needle grass. And it is one of the predominant native grasses of savannas of the Cumberland Plateau of Tennessee. And this is called Piptochedium avanaceum. And it is absolutely going bonkers in here, most likely germinated from the seed bank. But that's not all. If we begin to look at the herbaceous diversity, we see 2 or 3 species of goldenrod. Here's some world loosestrife, Lysomachia quadrifolia. We're seeing bushy aster in here, which is a pretty good and reliable savanna species. So it's pretty doggone incredible. I'm going to walk around just a little bit with you. Something else we're seeing a lot of in here is the germination of panic grasses, Dicanthelium. So a lot of these are beginning to go to seed right now. Multiple species of panic grasses in here, those little sort of bead-like spikelets. But just take a look at all of the openness in here. And you can see the fire scar marks on the bottom. You can see where in the past These trees had all sprouted and sort of had that coppice growth formed to them where they were forming thickets. But the more they burn, the more we're getting some small snags that are standing in here. Hardly anything in here is over 8 inches in diameter, to give you an idea of just how thick it was. But let me take you up. There's a lot of blueberries in here now. I'm seeing small-headed sunflower. But George, you're right, man. And you're achieving a savanna structure in here. And I can't wait to see what this looks like. And I think having the shortleaf pines coming back is a great sign. But having this oak and black needlegrass type savanna is really cool. Here's a thoroughwort, Eupatorium pubescens. That's a pretty good species of grasslands. The eupatoriums as a whole are mostly grassland plants. But there's one of the main things right off in there. Those longhorn cattle. I think that's really a testament to the fact that cows have a role in, as long as they're managed properly, they have a role in these kinds of ecosystems in their management. And I think as long as we're careful against things like overgrazing, they can play an important role in helping to set back succession and keep this from going to a closed canopy forest. And I think the seed bank tells it all. This site wants to be an open savanna based on the kinds of vegetation on the ground and based on historical data. And so having the cows plus the fire is really cool. And I am just absolutely stoked at this, to be honest with you. So we're gonna walk on up through here a little bit. I'm gonna catch up with my team, but I want to just walk you through the savanna. I'm gonna be quiet and we're just gonna walk and let you look. Guys, I don't know if you can see, SGI's new intern, Jared Gurrell, is right up in the woods. Phenomenal young naturalist. Jared is a super enthused about iNaturalist documentation. He's got over 36,000 observations of more than 4,000 species. I just heard him say, hey, there's prairie warbler. So as these sites are getting opened back up, birds like prairie warbler, which are on a downhill trajectory across many parts of the country because of the loss of savannas, are coming back here. Let's just listen and see if we can hear one. You know, some other species in this region, red-headed woodpeckers, northern bobwhite. We saw savanna sparrows today. I'm just really blown away by this. All right, guys, really cool example of some great restoration in progress here at Coal Creek Farms, Cumberland County, Tennessee. The vision, I think, of George Lindemann on this has been really profound. He's done a lot of homework, a lot of studying, and I think this shows that it's coming to life. It's doing really cool. All right, take care, everybody. Hope you enjoy this.